Thank you for joining us on our pillar program here at CoreFit. We're going to talk about the pillar of sleep. Now, sleep's going to be that pillar that we're going to actually utilize as our foundation. Sleep is so important that those other pillars that is in our program that we're sharing with you, that these pillars are going to rest upon. Because if our sleep is not in order, those other pillars are not going to be able to stand as strong. So we want to make sure that we're getting good sleep. And I'm hoping after this conversation that I have with you that you get to listen to, is that you're going to find the value in sleep. So I'm going to ask 4 questions. I'm going to talk about the 5 benefits of sleep, and then I'm going to talk about the 4 stages of sleep. So let's start with the question. The first question I have is, what percentage of your DNA do you think is related to the circadian rhythm? And the circadian rhythm that I'm talking about is what time the sun sets and when the sun rises. So what percentage of your DNA is related to that? The answer is 98%. 90% of your genetic code is related to circadian rhythm. And if you think about this, before light was created, we didn't have all this artificial light to keep us up at night. And so we were pretty much going to bed with the sun set and then rising with the sunrise. So this is question number 2. The light bulb was created in 1897 by Thomas Edison. Thank you, Thomas Edison, for creating that light bulb. Now, before the light bulb was created, how many hours do you think the average person was getting before the light bulb was created? The answer is 10 hours. Now, today, currently, what do you think the average hours of sleep that the average person is getting? We went from 10 hours to, the answer is, less than 7 hours. And because of this artificial light that we have, we're able to stay up longer. We're able to keep ourselves busy. We're able to do more work. And so we're not necessarily going to sleep. And with this artificial light that's coming in, our brain is not setting ourselves up to go to sleep. And that's where that light comes in, right? That darkness. And you guys might recognize between daylight savings and right now we're in that period of it is dark earlier, that you might be finding yourself becoming a little bit more tired earlier than you were than when we are getting an hour longer of daylight. And so now I'm going to go into question number 3. Question number 3 is, do you consider sleep a luxury or a necessity? And that's totally up to you. You get to answer that. My answer is that sleep is a necessity. In order for me to show up as that best version of myself, that best version of myself is getting 7 hours or more of sleep. And now I never used to prioritize sleep. I used to stay up night playing poker. I'd get home at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd get up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning and go work out. And then I'm thinking, am I going to have a good day at the gym? And then I'm going to work. And at that time, I was in management. I had a lot of questions. I had a lot of things I had to handle at work in management position. And do you think that I handled it the best? No, I didn't. I was very short. I wasn't functioning at my most optimal being because I wasn't getting those full hours of sleep. I was getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Now, my last question that I have for you, what is the only animal on the planet that deliberately deprives itself of sleep? And I'm sure everybody here that's watching this is going to answer this correctly, 100%. The only animal on this planet that deprives itself of sleep is us, the human being. We have so many distractions in our life that we deprive ourselves of sleep. And you can totally get this right now by staying up late at night watching TV. What are we doing? We're falling asleep in front of the TV. Instead of saying, hey, we're tired, let's shut the TV off and let's go to sleep. So those are the questions that I have to ask you that we just went through. Now I want to talk about the 5 benefits of sleep. Now the 5 benefits of sleep, the first one I'm going to talk to you about is the physical capacity of sleep. Now if we think about that physical capacity of sleep, what are we doing at the gym? We're working hard, we're breaking those muscles down. And so where does sleep come in? Our body has its best recovery during that process of when we're sleeping. We have these cells in our body that are called killer cells that go out there when we're sleeping and we're getting adequate amounts of sleep and goes out there and does the repair job. It's correcting those cells that are damaged and it's fixing those or whatever the killer cells do, right? They're correcting that damage that is done. They're attacking cancer cells as well. They're out there. They're kind of the army of our body. They're go out there doing the best job that they can based off of what you're allowing them to do. Now, when we're not getting 7 hours or more of sleep, we're not allowing those killer cells to do the best job. And what I mean by that is that means it's a shorter period of time that they can actually do any work, and they can't do their best job. A study was done where they did a study with individuals that they allowed them 4 hours of sleep. And in that process, in one night, it was only one night that they did this study. And in that 4 hours of sleep that they obtained, they found that with the blood work that they did, that those killer cells was a 70% decrease in the ability for those killer cells to go out there and do that job. Because we limited that time space, right? That's where sleep comes in. That benefit of sleep to allow our body to recover. Now, that's benefit number one. Benefit number two is coming into the cognitive function. Our memory, our emotions, our opportunity for problem solving. To get our best sleep, we're not getting 6 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours to show up as our best, to be able to help problem solve if we're going into a test that day. Are we going to get 4 or 5 hours of sleep if we're doing a presentation that day and expect to be our best? We all know when we don't do our best, what do we typically blame it on? Oh, I didn't get enough sleep that last night. Oh, I'm so tired. And this is where we kind of fall into this ability of making this as an excuse that we're not prioritizing sleep because something got in the way, and we might be allowing us to be entertained versus seeing that sleep as the value, right? As that necessity. Benefit number three is that mood regulation. When we're getting 7 hours of more of sleep, we tend to be a little bit more positive. We are less emotional. People that are dealing with depression are typically getting 7 hours or less, or I'm going to say less than 7 hours of sleep. And typically what happens with those individuals that are getting less than 7 hours of sleep, the things that they remember are more of the negative things that happen to them. Those are the things that are making an impact on lives. Those are the things that they remember because they're not functioning at their emotional best. When we're getting more 7 hours or more of sleep, we tend to have more of a positive outlook on life. And so that's a huge benefit to sleep. Benefit number four, weight management. When we're getting adequate amounts of sleep, 7 hours again or more, 7 to 9 hours of sleep, our body releases a hormone that helps it stay a little bit more satiated. We're not having these symptoms of being hungry. Also, when we're staying up a little bit later at night, we're watching TV and we're being entertained. What are we doing when we typically watch TV? We're on the couch, we got our bowl of chips, maybe we got ice cream. Who knows what's in front of us? But that's where we start to snack. And we're snacking longer into the night because we're staying up longer. So right there with weight management. You want to work on decreasing your weight? Simply go to bed earlier and work on getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And benefit number five is our heart health. Our heart health comes into play here. By us getting 7 hours of sleep or more, it's allowing our body to rest a little bit longer. It's allowing our heart rate to come down. It's allowing our respiratory rate to come down, which then also gives that ability of those killer cells to go out into the body and do their job. To do their job to go out there and remove all the damage that we've done to our body within that period of time that we were awake. So those are the five benefits. Those are the questions that I had to have you guys answer. And then the last part I'm going to get into right now is the 4 stages of sleep. Those 4 stages of sleep, stage one. That's when we go from this wakefulness period and we're moving into that sleep period. We're starting to get a little bit drowsy. We're starting to get ourselves prepared for sleep. Stage number two. Stage number two is where our body temperature is starting to decrease, our heart rate is starting to come down, and our brain is starting to prepare itself for sleep. Now, when we talk about body temperature, this is where, if you look at our videos that we have on here in the Self Mastery, I give you 10 tips on how to get better sleep. And the one tip that I talk about is having your bedroom around 67 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, blackout curtains. You want your room very dark to get the best opportunity to get a good restful night of sleep. Okay, so that's stage number two. Stage three is right where now when our muscles are starting to relax, our heart rate and our respiratory rate is starting to drop, and we're starting to get into that deep sleep stage. We're starting to get ready to go into stage number four, which is our REM sleep. REM sleep is rapid eye movement. Rapid eye movement is our brain actually becomes a little bit more active There's actually parts of our brain, 30% of our brain, that's a little bit more active in our deep sleep stage than when we are actually awake, studies have found. And which is kind of odd, right? That we think the brain is shutting down, but the brain's out there doing its job. All those things that happen into the day, it's filing those things. It's putting them away in the file cabinet. So that's where it's important too. Right before you go to bed, what are you watching? What are you doing right before you go to bed? Whatever inputs that you're putting into your brain, those are getting stored. That's what that brain is doing. It's taking whatever information that it has received through that day and it is storing it somewhere. And so think about that. When we go into that REM state, our brain is a little bit more active. And what happens? Our muscles actually become more relaxed. Our muscles actually become at times immobilized. Why? Because when we're having those dreams, we're in this dream state now. That's what REM sleep is. That rapid eye movement is where our dream state is. And when we start moving around or we think that we're running or we're at the gym at CrossFit, we're exercising, we're going through that terrific Tuesday workout. If our muscles weren't relaxed, we'd be going all over the place in bed. So that's why our brain shuts down those muscles. When it's hard to arouse somebody, when they're in that deep state of sleep, that's REM sleep. That's stage 4. So those are just a few things, you guys, that to hopefully that you're going to take away from this conversation around pillars on sleep, on how important sleep is. And I want you to kind of also come talk to myself, come talk with Kurt. That's what we do as coaches to help individuals sleep. One-on-one status. Use this pillar program. Whatever it is that you need, we're here for. We can help you with these things, get better sleep, work on your nutrition, work on your movement, all of those things that we have talked about in our pillar program, the mindset. And it's important. Number 1, that foundation is sleep. We can have a decrease. They've done studies again. People that have cancer with bowel issues, breast cancer, prostate cancer, Alzheimer's disease. The link to a lot of this is a decrease in sleep. The people that have slept 7 hours or less, those people that aren't getting a lot of sleep, we have a higher preponderance of those things that I just mentioned. Also, what they have talked about in sleep, that people that get less than 7 hours of sleep, that lifespan is shorter. People that get less than 7 hours of sleep have a shorter lifespan. And if you think about that, it kind of makes sense because we're not allowing our body to do its job to go out there and heal itself and be at its best. If you want to be at your best and show up as your best, work on getting 7 hours of sleep. Take naps during the day if that is possible. Again, we're one of the only species that doesn't take naps. We forcibly keep ourselves busy and work, go out and do things. And sometimes our jobs don't allow us to do that, and that's fine. But some of us have that opportunity. If you have that opportunity, highly recommend. What they talk about is don't take naps 3 hours before you're going to bed. You can take a 6-minute nap. You can do a 20-minute nap. There's a lot of different type of meditations that you can do to allow you to get yourself into that relaxed stage. But what I want you to, again, be mindful of sleep, how important it is to you. Let that be your pillar. Let that be that foundation that all the other pillars rest upon. And if you need help, and you want to take your life to the next level, and you want to live the most fit life possible, come talk to Kurt, come talk to myself, talk to any of the coaches. We're here for you. Let's take your life to the next level. Peace.